Hey guys, Julia here with Fancy Farm. It has been quite some time, but we had our little baby. Here he is. Let's see. Little Abraham. It was a baby boy. We were all actually pretty surprised. We thought I was going to be a girl. So I was pretty surprised, but we're so happy with little Abraham. He's so sweet. But I wanted to get on here a lot sooner. I was planning on day 3 when he was 3 days old. He's actually 2 weeks old today. So time flies. His birth went beautiful, but we had a little bit of a rough 2 weeks afterwards. So today's a good day. Today's a really good day. So I guess I will jump into the birth story. So as you guys all know, I was trying all the methods to get my labor kicked in, and I did the whole midwifery brew where you have castor oil, and I did that like I told you on that video, I'm pretty sure that I did that 2 times in a row in a 16-hour period and did nothing for me. So I was trying all the methods and nothing was happening. And October 1st, I was due in September, and October 1st came, and I woke up that morning and I was super bummed out, like super bummed out, because I was due, in September, and thought for sure my baby would be here by now, and still wasn't. So I was pretty teary that morning, and it was looking like I was going to get induced, which I was going to have to go to the hospital, which I was going to lose my midwife. And so everything was turning out the way, in my mind, I thought everything was turning out the wrong way. And I was super, super bummed out about it. So I had an appointment that afternoon, and I had already prearranged with my mom to, the kids' rooms were pretty messy, and I asked her, that was the one thing I really wanted done before the baby came. And I knew by Friday, this was Wednesday, I knew by Friday baby was going to come, because the midwife, the last time I had seen her, she said I was going to end up having to get induced if the baby hadn't come before 14 days. And so I was like, well, Friday's going to be it. So I'm going to have to get induced. So I know I'm going to have the baby soon, Mom. So could you come this day? This might be the perfect day to just keep the kids home with you so I can have a quiet last baby appointment with my midwife and talk some serious talk, whatever decisions we were going to have to make. I asked her if she could clean the kids' rooms, and she's amazing at that. So, anyway, so that's what she did. Amos loves his baby brother. We're just learning some, to be careful. So she came over. Oh, and then that morning I was pretty emotional, and so I kind of asked Joel if he would stay home with me that day. Not stay home, but go to the baby appointment with me, because I thought it was going to be my last one. So he said that'd be fine. He went to work, but then I was going to go after my mom got here. I was going to go pick him up, and we were going to head to the midwife appointment. Yeah, baby. So I went and picked him up, and then we went to the midwife appointment. And my mom was here with all 4 of the kids. We didn't even take Amos. Usually I leave pretty early to get all my errands done ahead of time. But this time I didn't even decide. I was just running late. So I went and picked up Joel, and we had to go straight to the appointment. We barely made it in time. So we went straight there, and we get there, and she checks me, and she's like, baby's in a really good position, and you're softer, but you're still a 3. So I was like, okay, yeah, I figured I'd still only be a 3. This day, he was 11 days late at this point. So anyways, I was pretty discouraged, but then she was like, okay. She's like, I think it's time to pull out the herbs. Oh, okay. What herbs? So I think it was called like cotton root or cotton bark root, something like that. I can't remember. She was like, let me give you a dose of this, and you should start contractions within a couple hours. And so I'm like super stoked. I'm like, am I going to start labor? Like, really? This is totally different than what I expected. And thankfully that all worked out, because my mom had all the kids. We had all the bags, the car seat, everything. We were totally set up and ready in the car. And I had Joel with me, of all times. He hasn't been to any baby appointment, and this time he did come. And so I was like, wow, this is perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go into labor. I was all excited. Anyway, so I took the little drink, and then she's like, just stick around town and do whatever you want to do. And I was like, well, we didn't get our errands done earlier, so we'll just get them done now. So we go around and get errands done, and 2 hours pass and nothing, no change at all. So I'm like super bummed, but she said she had told us if contractions didn't start in 2 hours, come back for another dose. So we went back, got another dose, and I was like, how many doses are you allowed? And she's like, 3 max. I'm like, okay, all right, well, I'll do the 3 if for anything. Like, I just want labor to start. So anyway, so we took another dose, and then we left again, went out for dinner, and then just kind of killed time. We were in Walmart and just kind of walking circles inside of it. I wanted to walk because I felt like that could make things happen. At this point, I was feeling a lot of pressure. So I was like, that's different, but I'm not feeling any contractions, but definitely a lot of pressure. So we're walking around Walmart, and then the 2 hours is about up. So we go back, and she's like, anything? I'm like, nothing. All there is just pressure, but no contractions, nothing. And so she's like, well, come on back. Let me check you again. So she checked me, and she's like, baby's dropped about an inch, and you're dilated to 6 now. I was like, what? And she's like, and you're having a contraction right now. She's like, can you not feel it? Like, no. She's like, look at your belly. And then she showed me how to feel on my belly and see that I was having contraction. And then I had one, and then I had another one. And so she's like, you're definitely in labor. And I was like, I don't know, because I've had a couple of different times recently where I thought I was going into labor. I was having contractions and everything, and then they died off. So I was like, I don't know. And she's like, no, you really are in labor. And so she's like, you need to head over to the birth center. I'll meet you there, and we'll get you set up. I was like, oh, are you sure? I would feel horrible if, this goes nowhere and you're stuck wasting your time with me. And she's like, no, you're in labor. It's not reversing. You're going to have this baby tonight. I was like, okay, but I still wasn't feeling anything. So I guess I was having contractions, but I wasn't feeling them. So anyway, so we got over to the birth center, got all set up, unpacked and everything. And then I'm just sitting on the bouncy ball just because I'm trying to make this happen, because I wasn't feeling any contractions still. I'm just trying to make this happen. She says it's happening. Let me try to speed it up because I don't want it to disappear. I still in my mind felt like it wasn't happening and it was just all going to go away. But then it's starting to get later and I'm getting tired, and she comes into the room and I'm like, I really want to sleep right now. I want to go lay in the bed and sleep, but I don't want it to disappear. I don't want this to all be a waste of time. And she's like, it's not going away. You are progressing. You're not feeling it yet, but it is happening. I was like, okay. Oh, and then at this point I was feeling mild contractions, but I had felt mild contractions a couple times before and they disappeared when I went to bed to sleep. And so I was worried to go to bed to sleep. So it was 6:30 when I started feeling mild contractions. And then at 7:30 is when I think I wanted to lay down in bed. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. It's not going in. It's going to keep progressing. So I went to go lay down, and then instantly when I laid down, I had a strong contraction. And then it just stayed strong from then. So yeah, I just sat in bed. I was like, there's no way I'm going to sleep through this. So I just sat up in bed and just let the contractions come. And then once it got pretty strong, when I was like, I think I'm getting pretty close, I asked them to fill the birth pool so I could start laboring the more intense contractions in the pool. And so they were working on that. That was about, I think 9 o'clock. I told them that I wanted them to fill the pool. And then they had to set it all up. And so they were setting it all up, the whole pool. They had to blow it up and everything because another lady was coming in to have a baby in another room. So they had to give her a different pool that was already blown up, and I had to take it was actually the bigger pool because I had the bigger room. So they're working on blowing that up. And then, and that was quite a process. It was about 9 o'clock when I asked, and then they probably didn't get done until like, I feel like maybe 9:30. It took a while to set it up and to blow it up and then to fill it before I would bother getting in. You know, it was like close to half full, maybe a quarter full when I was like, okay, I'll get in. So I got up to get changed, and then my water broke a bit. It wasn't like a huge gush, but it was a decent amount that I knew it was my water. So my water broke, and then I was getting to the pool, and I had a super strong contraction with a lot of pressure. And I was like, oh boy, this is a lot closer than I realized. And so I got in the pool somewhere just after 10. I got in the pool. And then I was in the pool, and I was like, I think it's getting really close. And so the nurse went and got the midwife. And so everybody was kind of there and ready. And then Joel and the midwife stepped out for a minute, I think to go make a coffee or get a drink or something. I can't remember. Oh yeah, I was out of water. So he went to go get me water, and he talked with the midwife for a minute. She's like, how close do you think she is? And he's like, within 30 minutes, she's close. And so, and he was pretty right on, because I think he said that's what happened. He was talking to her. He said that was around 10:10, because he looked at his watch. He's like, I think in about 30 minutes. And she's like, okay. She didn't really know. So anyways, so they came back in, and then just a little while after, the pushing urge came on, and then I pushed him out. So it was a total of, I started contractions at 6:30. Well, I started them before, but I started feeling the mild contractions at 6:30, and then I had them at 10:38. So it was about 4 hours, and then pushed him out in 4 minutes. So it was a very quick, smooth birth. It was a nice birth. And the birth pool, that was my first time doing a birth pool, and I really enjoyed it because it really eased the contractions a lot. Like, I would totally do it again. The birth pool. So anyways, the birth went beautiful. It was wonderful. My midwife didn't even boot us out. She was like, sleep, you guys are staying the night. Don't worry about it. And just get some rest. So we did. We just, we were up for a couple hours just being so excited, you know, having the new baby and sharing the pictures and everything. So, but then we finally did go to bed, and we got some sleep, and and then we left in the morning to come home to meet the kids and introduce little Abraham to everybody. And then and it was all going great, really, really good. And then so that was day 1, Thursday, and then day 2, I was feeling super great, like feeling amazing, up and going, and just like, wow, better than I've ever felt. My midwife came and checked him out. She came to our place and checked him out and everything. That was actually in the evening. She left, and then all of a sudden, like, I turned a corner and I felt horrible, like came down with something. I was just super, super feverish and felt miserable and all that. So I was in bed. So the next day, I was like still super feverish, and I'm like, I don't know, could this be like an infection or something? So I text my midwife, explaining everything, and she's like, no, you're just probably caught COVID or something, COVID or the flu. Stuff was going around. So she's like, you probably just got something, and you should be fine. Anyway, so I was like, okay, whatever. Well, the other thing that was making me think of an infection was because I did tear with him, which is crazy. I've never torn since my first, who was a big baby, and she was my first, and so I tore really bad. Had stitches done, and they were the biodegradable kind. Well, my body does not handle that kind at all, and I got a really bad infection with her. Well, then I had forgotten about that. It was so long ago, And same thing with this one. And I was like, oh no, biodegradable stitches. I bet that's what's going on. I bet that's why I'm feverish, blah, blah, blah. So I messaged my midwife. Because this was Sunday night by this point. I was still super feverish, super miserable feeling. And I'm like, it doesn't take this long to get over colds. I think I got an infection. So the next morning, on Monday morning, I messaged my midwife. I said, hey, this is what's going on. I think I might have an infection from the stitches, because this is what happened with my first child. And so she's like, okay, well, blah, 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 blah. Have your husband pull them. She explained it, everything, blah, blah, blah. So Joel pulled them. I thought, okay, I should be on the mend now. I actually had some infection buster herbs from a really good company that we know. I was taking that. I took that a couple of times. And I woke up Monday. Well, I took that infection buster the night before, and I woke up Monday morning feeling pretty good. I had some energy back, actually. So I think that stuff did something. Anyways, and I was feeling actually pretty good that day. And Joel happened to want to, we had ordered a hunting rifle. I should say, I ordered a hunting rifle, and it was ready to be picked up. We were going to pick it up over the weekend because I was feeling good on Friday. Then that all changed, and then woke up feeling okay on Monday, and I was like, well, I think I can do it. Let's just do it today. So we went to the town, the closest town to us where the gun was, which is an hour and a half away, and we went there. Well, my brain is not functioning right yet, it was not functioning right at all. So I did not remember to grab my wallet from my purse because, I'm transferred over to a big diaper bag now. So I forgot to grab my wallet out of my old one and put it into the diaper bag, the new diaper bag. And we get all the way there, and we had to go to another town, complete opposite direction where my kids' school's at, because we had to drop some stuff off there. So we had to go there, which that was an hour there. Did that. Then we went an hour and a half, complete different direction, to go get the gun. Well, we get there, and I'm like, oh no, I don't have my wallet. So Joel's adamant he wants this gun. He's like, we're getting this today. Hunting season's almost here. This is happening. So we drove all the way back home, which is another hour and a half. And then we drove all the way back to get the gun again, which is another hour and a half, and got the gun. And then we had to do some grocery shopping and little stuff like that. And then drove all the way back home, an hour and a half. So it was a total of, I had spent 9.5 hours in the car or out walking around the store. And so that night, that way overdid it on my body. And I was in so much pain. I had so much pain that night. And I was super feverish. Like, the fever came on super strong again. And so I was like, great. I think the infection's gone really bad now. I wasn't thinking that probably majorly overdoing it like that caused just a lot of issues in there. My body wasn't ready. It hadn't healed yet. And so that created a lot of pain. I was just thinking, I'm super, super feverish. Now I'm having a ton of pain in my abdomen. I'm just like, I think it's super bad. The infection's super bad. So, anyways, so this was Monday night was miserable. And then Tuesday, I held off, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling horrible today. If I'm feeling this way by Thursday, I'm going into the clinic. And so, Tuesday goes on, and tons of pain Tuesday night again. And then Wednesday, what happened? My mom had come over Tuesday because I was like, I'm not feeling good, Mom. Do you think you can come over and do the dishes and just visit? I actually wanted to just visit with my mom too. So she came over. She spent the day Tuesday, and she could tell I was not my normal self at all. So Wednesday morning, she calls me. She's like, Drea, I want you to come here and just spend the day here. I would feel better if I could, be with you and help you. But yet she'd be home and still be able to do her things that she needs to do. And so I went there, and the Tylenol happened to have worn off, and because I was constantly on Tylenol to keep the fever down. Anyways, and so the Tylenol had just worn off when I was getting there, and so I was just shaking like super bad, and the fever was coming on strong. And so I was like, oh my goodness, Drea, you're going to the clinic today. And so she did. She took me to the clinic. The doctor looked at me and checked me out down there, and he's like, oh yeah, you've got a vaginal infection. And so I'm like, okay, all right, how did I pick something up? Was it pool birth, blah blah blah? And I had some ideas. He's like, yeah, it happens. And so got on some antibiotics on Wednesday. I'm like, okay, things should be looking up soon. I should be starting to feel better again and be a mother, just start life. Antibiotics kick in pretty quick, within a few days. So I'm still super feverish, super weak, just totally zapped, and just hanging out in bed and going between bed and the chair, pretty much. I mean, it was like, that was my life for a while. I was just not feeling good at all. And the kids were just totally running the show. The girls were totally keeping up on the house and just doing everything. So it was a lot on them too. So it was really sweet. My mom was coming over and doing dishes and just doing those extra things. So that was nice. But anyways, so a few days passed after my antibiotics, having them, and I'm like, I still feel the same. I'm still fighting this fever. Like, the fever was still strong, and I was just constantly dosing up on Tylenol over and over. I even switched to ibuprofen to see if that would help. And anyways, just constantly dosing up on things and taking antibiotics, which all those things is not what I like to do. I'm like, I don't even remember what day it was. I think it was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday, and I still wasn't feeling good. And I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. The antibiotics, I've almost been taking them for a week now. They've done nothing. And I'm still feeling horrible. What is going on? So I had planned I was going to call the clinic the next day to see like what's going on. I don't know why the antibiotics aren't helping me. And then also I wanted to check with my midwife. So Joel was texting for me, because I was also not even hardly texting people. I was just really, really tired. Joel was messaging my midwife talking about it, and then she's like, okay, let me do a full examination of her tomorrow, because we were going to take him in the next day for he was tongue-tied, and so we had to get that taken care of. So Monday rolls around, we go in, and she checks me out. She's like, no, you've just got a really bad virus, and it's hard for it. You just had a baby. Everything's wiped out. Your immune system's super low. You're just not kicking it yet. She's like, just do everything natural, everything, any sort of remedy you might have in your back pocket, do it all. And so I was like, okay, it's a stupid virus I'm fighting all this time. This is ridiculous. It's almost 2 weeks at this point. So we go home, and I got everything that I had to do. I had some other herbal tinctures that I had, was for colds, and the one that I had been taking was for an infection. So I switched over to the cold one, and that stuff was pretty powerful. It works really well. And then, so I started taking that, and I was taking just fresh garlic, pressing it, and putting it in orange juice and guzzling it down. And then eating sauerkraut and lots of fruit, trying to just eat better. So anyways, so we went home to do that. But on that day that I saw my midwife, another midwife did his tongue tie with a laser, and it was awful. It was horrible. She had a really hard time because his chin is so set in. It was very hard for her to access his tongue well, and it was really bad. He couldn't nurse. I was able to nurse him one time afterwards, but it was really, really challenging to get him to nurse. He cried and cried and cried for a long time. I think it's painful for him to nurse, and just trying to relearn, because all of a sudden he could use his tongue, and he didn't know how, so he had to relearn how to nurse as well. And so it was a miserable night. I could not get him to nurse the entire night. And just cried and cried. It was really hard. The next morning, I still couldn't get him to nurse, could not get him to nurse. And then finally, I did, one of the tips was to get into, a bath of warm water, you and your baby, and that would maybe help baby to relax to nurse. And that actually did work. It was also a long period since he had nursed, so I don't know if it was like a combination of both. He got desperate enough and maybe helped him relax. I'm not really sure. But it did work in the bath. He did finally nurse for the second time. And then he did after that. It was still not steady nursing, you know, like I would still try to nurse him and then he'd just cry and cry and just would not get it. So I'd have to give up and then try again another time. So it still took a while, but he did finally get it more and more after that bath. But, it was so hard, and we're still struggling with it right now. He got that done, 2 days ago, so we're still struggling. We're still in a hard spell right now, and he's, still not the nurser he was. He was a really good little nurser, and it's still a struggle. Honestly, I'll probably, if I have another baby with a tongue tie, I will never have it done again. At least not, I don't know. I'll put my baby through that again. But he is doing much, much better now, and he's getting nursing. It's just still not as easy and smooth as it was, you know, in the beginning, but he's definitely getting there. So, and he's growing. He was 8-9 when he was born, and he made it to October. He was 11 days late, so he followed my children's pattern. Every single baby has been later, and Amos was 10 days late. He hit 11 days late. So I'm like, oh, great. I hope this pattern will be broken one day. So anyways, I am so happy that he is here now, and we are loving our precious baby Abraham. He is so sweet, and he is a really happy baby. The tongue tie was just a real struggle, you know. It's not fun. I wouldn't do the laser again. I think it should be the old way, just a clip. But anyways, he is doing well. I am finally better. So yes, the whole, it was a virus. It was not an infection, which is, how I figured that out, how she figured that out. She's like, you're not having any pain. If you're not having pain in there, which I was those first couple of nights because of that trip. But then it did go away. And I stopped having the pain. And so she's like, if you're not having pain, you don't have an infection. And I was like, oh, great. So I went on antibiotics for nothing, but whatever, it is what it is. But yes, she's like, no, you have a really bad virus. And sure enough, I went home, did all the remedies, pulled them all out, did everything I could think of. And I'm feeling amazing now. I'm still, my energy level is still not quite to what it would normally be. But very, very close. I'm up and doing it all now. So now we're just having to get into a routine with baby number 5 here. Today we started school again, so that feels really good. It was definitely a little more challenging, with this little guy, but, we're getting it. And yeah, so we're so excited. We're so happy that little Abraham is here. I'm so happy I'm not pregnant and my belly is like exploding, and he's out now and I'm comfortable and I've got my baby here in my arms, and Amos is doing really well with him. He's not like acting jealous or upset. He's just learning to be gentle. That's the hardest part right now, is just to be gentle. And then everybody else is loving him and enjoying having a baby around. So that was it. That was the birth story. The birth went beautiful. It was easy and smooth. Yeah. And I think the reason I tore with him is because I was pressing my feet against the pool. So in the future, if I was to have a pool birth, I think I'll like hold my legs, like brace them better, or kind of squat in the water. So change my position. I think that's why I tensed up. So anyways, but yeah, no, we are so happy he's here, and so glad I am up and going now, and I feel like I can live life, start life with my family again, and just enjoy our little family. Our little family of 7 now, 5 kiddos. It's crazy. I can't believe we have 3 boys now. We have 2 girls and 3 boys. It was always more girls in the family for so long that it feels weird to, like, now that the girls are outnumbered, it's more boys in the family. So yeah, that's been crazy. But anyways, all right, guys, thank you for following along. I hope you enjoyed hearing his little birth story. It wasn't super crazy, but it was, yeah, we're just happy he's here. So anyways, I guess I will catch you guys next time. I don't know what the next video will be about, but probably just life around here on the farm. Okay, guys, well, you take care, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.